Welcome to Instead of the Anthems, the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast pre-show, normally exclusively to only our patrons. It's me, Chris at Lifeforce, joined virtually by Anna. Say hi, Anna.
Hi, everyone.
And Matt. Say hi, Matt.
Hello, everybody.
I must admit, the prompt arrival at 5:30 by the two of you was unreal. It was like, bop, bop. And I'm like, okay, I guess I've already started to go live. I don't know what's going to happen if I add you. Like, will it stop the countdown and whatnot? But you're here.
We are here. I am broadcasting live from my new abode.
Is that a window behind you, or is that
This
like
is a window?
It's a window. Okay.
Oh, look at that. It's nice to see, Anna, that you've upgraded to now having a window in your home. So congratulations on the upgrade.
I did have a window in my old bedroom, but yeah, I'm enjoying my new place. Still some boxes left to unpack, but getting there, enjoying my new neighborhood, and yeah, it's good.
How's the internet?
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked from home today, and I had a video meeting, and it was fine then. So streamed some cricket, so we'll see.
It seems to be better than the internet that Matt has over there.
Anything's better than my internet, but yeah, let's continue to hope that it holds out as we start Instead of the Anthems.
So we're doing this a little bit different this week. Normally, this pre-show is exclusively for just our patrons, so those that support C4. This week, we thought we'd do like a pre-show because the Canucks are playing an inter-squad game against the Calgary Canucks in the second.
I did wonder where you were going there.
At 6 p.m. Pacific. And normally, just to sort of pull the curtain back, we normally record our main show Monday nights at 7. And it goes live on Tuesday sometime. Well, now that the Canucks are playing tonight, we had to do some gymnastics over 1, how do we do IOTA? 2, how do we watch the hockey game? And 3, how do we actually record a show? So I made the executive decision that said, let's do IOTA as a pregame show for everyone.
Right.
And then we'll figure out when we're going to record and watch the Canucks. We got Jessica tuning in all the way from the other side of the planet. And as you can see,
during the Australia-India cricket game, so maybe she's got 2 screens open there. But appreciate the dedication.
0 to 10.
She's definitely got good internet going on where she is.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I believe, Jessica, you're in Brisbane? Is that right? Well, at least I know you're a Brisbane Heat fan, so I presume you're in Brisbane and they have good Wi-Fi.
The who's currently working in the kitchen?
Oh, that would be me, I think.
That's okay.
Well, it's definitely not you. It's Mrs. Producer.
Yeah,
it's perfectly fine.
Matt doesn't cook, I don't think.
That is a lie, Anna. I'm terrific.
I mean, how would we know?
But the reason I sort of segued to the kitchen is that there's someone else who flew themselves to Calgary on a private jet looking to cook things up there tonight. JT Miller is back in the lineup.
Yeah, very nice of the family to loan the private jet to JT Miller so that he can join his teammates.
Is that what happened? Right? Is that what happened? Well, no, I didn't know the family had a private jet.
Okay, so let's be clear.
I'm confused because I thought you weren't allowed, even if it was a private jet. It would count as crossing provincial boundaries and whatever, but
yeah, I don't know what the exact rules are, and full disclosure, I have a sense that we'll be learning about new rules about this season as we go on, but I can only assume that JT Miller does not have his own private jet, and the organization had one just lying around and a pilot lying around, and they were more than willing to fly him in for what I think, it might be premature to say this, but it's as close to a must-win game as it gets in the first week of the season.
I mean, that's a bit much, but
I think so, and I see Chris giving me the stink eye, but
So this is the thing. C4 Discord this weekend in the Calgary versus Van game chat. So post game, here's Matt. 3 games into the season, I'll concede it's a shorter season, and it's a little weird considering everything is a 4-point game. Dropping I think it's a must win on Monday night, and I'm like, really?
Also, but I did see something today that depressed me. The new athletic writer for Calgary, formerly of the Ottawa Senators, Haley Savan, who's also been working with Thomas Drance this weekend, just dropped the fact that there are no back-to-backs in all of the Vancouver Calgary games. So we could face Malmstrom every single time, and it doesn't look like he's lost a step.
Well, at least in that first game.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting too serious for Iota, but yeah.
I'll tell you why I think it's a must-win game.
Okay.
The reasons that Chris outlined right there off the top is that this is a Canadian season where you're playing your division rivals every single game, and it's a condensed season where the games matter even more. This isn't the old dredges of an 82-game season. This is a 56-game season, and every win is important. And my take is just that this team looked very lackluster against the Calgary Flames. You probably count on one hand the amount of legitimate scoring chances they had on Saturday night against Jacob Markstrom, and there just wasn't much. And for me, if you're coming out of the chute 1-3 to start your 4-game road trip, it is unfortunately setting the table for what could be a long season. I don't think it's a must-win game, but I think it's close to a must-win game tonight.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and chat. I'm pretty sure you were trending towards, I think it's a must-win game, not it might be
close to setting the table for, which is not an expression, by the way.
It feels like you're walking this one back a little bit.
No, I think it's a must-win game, or at least as close to a must-win game as it gets.
There you go. You got off the fence. You're no longer setting the table. You're actually at the table, and you're clearing it.
Hey, if the comments want to back me up, if say I'm crazy or not, I'm happy to be proven wrong. But my honest opinion is that it's a must-win game going into Game 4 against the Calgary Flames. Like it was just in terms of how you could come out to start your season against the Calgary Flames. It was probably the worst case scenario. First game against Jacob Markstrom, Calgary Flames. He's getting in your head already. I feel like if you're the Vancouver Canucks, where your old goalie pitches a shutout against you the first time you play against him.
So I just want to point out, Nexus here is telling you it's way too early to call it a must-win.
Voice of reason, Nexus here.
Mm-hmm. Now he might, if you were to go and say it's time to get rid of Travis Green, Nexus would be like never too early for that. But 56 games. Let's just for argument's sake say that's half a regular season. This is the first week of the season after tonight. Quite frankly, the Canucks are known for slow starts. So how is this any different than
Are they known for slow starts?
Oh yeah,
Come on, we know in November or in October they're awesome, but by November they're the November Canucks. We know that. They always come out of the gates flying.
So, but like my point was to suggest that the way the season is structured and the fact that everything is divisional, that 4-point game, it's that teams who go on swings have the ability to go and put themselves into contention, take themselves up, put themselves back in. It is going to be such a seesaw season, whereas in a more traditional season, so many teams are in it through to the trade deadline, but it takes more than just a hot run. A hot run gets you close to contention. A hot run in this season would be like, well, geez, we just went from worst to first. We're Ricky Bobby in this bad boy up. I'm not too upset. Yeah, it was a bad. Oh, you don't know about Ricky Bobby? If you're not first to worst.
Okay.
Next C4 at the movies.
Shake and bake.
Is that Talladega Nights? Is that one?
There we go.
Okay. I've seen clips of it.
But look at was Markstrom going to come out hot? No, damn straight Markstrom was going to come out hot.
Chris Tanev blocking shots like Chris Tanev does.
If the Canucks are lackluster again tonight, I might have concern, but that's all that is. It's not worry. It's not like, oh my goodness, this season is already off to a horrible start. This is preseason hockey right now that we're looking at.
But yeah, I guess I see Matt's point, and what would worry me if we saw another lackluster performance is that it's just an exhibit of like Canucks lack of depth, and it's like if JT Miller, I mean, if he comes back but isn't quite, season ready, game ready, then it just shows, if the first line isn't firing, then Canucks are kind of stuck. And it's not so much about that game, it's about how that translates going forward, because then you've got 3 people in the lineup, potentially 4, like Quinn as well. If they're not firing, then the Canucks are lost. That's the worrying thing, I think.
Just to move off of whether it's a must-win game or if it's not a must-win game or not, the other thing I want to sort of float to you guys is I'm kind of sick of the excuse that we've seen over the last 2 games in the defeats where, the Canucks didn't have JT Miller in their lineup. How much of that do you guys put into quote-unquote excuses for the losses?
Well, it no matter how you look at it, it is an excuse. And in fact, I'd argue there's a lot of truth to that statement. The problem is that sub JT Miller out and simply put, stalwart player A as your example. The
Jake Vancouver,
well, no, Jake is not a stalwart player. I'm not suggesting
but that is who was sort of getting a look in Miller's absence.
No, but when I say insert, I'm saying like just put a player's name and say they're out of the lineup.
Okay.
And the difficult thing here is that this is simply reinforcing what we've seen from a Vancouver Canucks team over the years, is that their depth in key positions is somewhat non-existent. They've been able to weather some storms in the past, but it doesn't take much when suddenly you're reliant on one line. And it was like, heck, even in the Sedin era, when the Sedins were the only line that made or broke this Vancouver Canucks team, if they didn't show up for a night, there wasn't anyone else to help pick up that slack. And I think that's the struggle. It's the depth that's sort of season after season been an issue. One game makes for no real truth here, but if it happens again, when, heaven forbid, Quinn Hughes is out or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was just like I was reading friend of the show, Thomas Strance's Athletic article going through the options to replace JT Miller. And it just didn't like any of them. The closest one that was good was Nils Höglander, and that involved breaking up the only somewhat successful line. So...
So, Rich here was saying he'd be okay with the loss if the effort team was way better on Saturday. For me, that's the thing. It's effort. Like that game was, they're going to happen. They're going to be those write-off experiences. It's when they become consistently a thing that is more worrying. Yeah. Also, another fair point from him. Stalwart player A is the new Jag.
It doesn't trip off the tongue quite the same way as Jag, but
Jessica's already looking to get a jersey.
I mean, it'll age better than a Louis Eriksson jersey.
Get the new Canucks transient or jersey or whatever was the
reverse retro. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, whatever. What's the gradient? Thank you. I was trying
gradient.
Gradient. I'm like transient. No, it's not a gradient. The gradient jersey. Have stalwart player A on the back.
I'm just going to get one jersey on the back that says Jag.
Yeah. And then no one else will get it. What number would you have?
Well, if it was my number, it's 38.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's think about this. If I could think of which players have worn the same jersey that have been the most Jag. 18? Jake Virtanen? Sorry? Like I'm trying to think of who else has worn 18 over the years.
Well,
Steve Bernier has worn
Chris
18.
Tanev used to wear it, and he wasn't.
He was pretty. Then.
Yeah, he was a Jag then. I was gonna say that. Yeah, so
I'm gonna look.
It isn't bad. I feel like any number in the 40s or 50s though. Like I'm sure there must be like a few players that shared 45 and 54. Like
some of the greatest players. Some of the greatest players to wear 18 over the years: Jake Virtanen, Ryan Stanton, Cam Barker, Peter Schaefer in 2011.
Cam Barker,
Steve Steve Bernier, Mike Weaver, and Rory Fitzpatrick. That's as Jag as the list gets right there.
Oh, come on. You can't put Rory in Jag. This was like an almost NHL All-Star.
Almost.
I don't know. If the Jags wore a number, it would be 18, I think.
So Nexus is saying that he posted a Jag jersey in C4 Discord earlier today. Wasn't that Bertuzzi?
Harsh.
Yes, but Bertuzzi was not a Jag.
Harsh.
I see Rich Ferguson has mentioned number 29 would be his Jag number. I'm going to quickly pull up Ashton Sautner, Philip Holm, Andre Padan, Tom Sestito, Aaron Rome. The last
I was going to say
number 29.
Sestito, I remember him wearing 29, but Aaron Rome, that's a bit of a harsh one on poor Roma there. But otherwise, yeah.
The linchpin to the 2011 series.
Getting back to the games.
Shapu? 54 or something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if we could get back on the rails, I guess, just teasing tonight's game. What are your guys' thoughts on Elias Pettersson's performance through the first 3 games of the season? And if you were to sort of put this on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I'm very panicked, 1 being not at all, where would you currently be with Elias Pettersson?
I'm a 2.
Wait, sorry, what was the top number? 1 to what? I was
10 being total freak out, 1 being not at all.
Yeah, 3 maximum.
Okay, yeah. I don't think there's that much concern, but you know, I think it's tough. I think Pettersson gets exposed a little bit when he doesn't have JT Miller on his wing for sure. It's tough for Pettersson to be all world when he doesn't have his number 1 line mate with him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think I'm sticking with 45 and 54, by the way, for my Jag numbers. 45 was Shapu and Jordan Schrader. And 54 was Aaron Velpatti and Kellen Lane, who we were talking about just today.
Who Chris just besmirched today.
I know.
Good name of Kellen Lane.
I can't believe you didn't remember that storied career, including that goal that he scored in his second NHL game, his first real one.
Well, so that's the thing is everyone remembers that game, the Kellen Lane's first game in the NHL. But then I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, did he play after that? Because that's the only game I could remember. I do not remember the goal. I do not remember subsequent games played. So you go to Elite Prospects, as anyone would go and do. And what does it have next to G1?
Yeah,
totally ignore the GP and the 9.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I believe the Canucks ended up flying his parents to his second game because obviously the NHLPA fly parents out for their first game, but that lasted 2 seconds. So, yeah,
that's the for those that don't know, and you're tuning into the live stream instead of the Anthems, it is the was it 7th anniversary? Okay, 7th anniversary of the Calgary Vancouver line brawl, where Kevin Bieksa won a face-off, 100%. Actually, I don't know. Did he ever take any more face-offs in his NHL career, or was that the only one?
I'm pretty sure that was the only face-off Kevin Bieksa has ever taken in his career. Man, that was a weird game.
Well, and I obviously, because it was dropped in C4 Discord, I watched the video of that, and you know, Bieksa's taking the face off, which is kind of surreal. And everyone goes to drop the gloves, and Kevin's like, I don't want to do this. His arms are at his side. He's sort of skating back. And eventually he starts throwing as well. But like the fact that even happened is unreal. Like was outside of the Tortorella-Hartley history, I don't recall any bad blood between these two teams in the lead up to this game. It was simply Hartley icing his 4th line for face-off, and John Tortorella saying, well, I got to respond.
Yeah, but I don't remember why that happened in the first place, really.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, it is what Chris mentioned. I remember the backstory to this pretty clearly. I mean, the road team always has the responsibility of submitting their starting lineup first before the home team. And John Tortorella sees on the card that Bob Hartley was starting his Kevin Westgarth's. The rest of the names are behooving me for some apparent reason. But I think Brian McGrattan was in that lineup as well. So a bunch of like big, meaty guys. So Tortorella sees that Bob Hartley is starting that lineup, and I think he like scribbles out the Sedins from his starting lineup, and he's got like his goon unit, which was like Tom Sestito, Kellen Lane, and I forget who was the third member of that forward group. So this had all the makings of bubbling over right away before the puck even dropped. And I was going to say, Chris, that I think Kevin Bieksa actually did want to do that at the time because he stepped in for Kellen Lane, who was taking that face off.
He was trying to
I think Bieksa was more than willing to be a dance partner.
More than willing to be a dance partner. Because, like, if I recall when Bieksa described it, he wanted to keep Kellen Lane in the game. Like, he stepped up to essentially, okay, I'm a veteran player. I see what's going to go on here. If anything's going to happen, I'm going to be involved. But I don't know if Bieksa, I can't remember who the defensive partner was.
I think it was Jason Garrison.
Was it Garrison? Okay. Like, arguably, it was almost like the Canucks went out thinking something might happen, but weren't entirely sure. And then obviously words must have been shared, or to, use the goon reference, the Yawana. And that's when, Bieksa stepped up to take the face off, win it. Use it to renegotiate in his next deal, and history was made. Speaking of tonight's game, Canucks have 7D on the ice in warm-up.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jalen Chatfield was taking warm-up. Now, I haven't seen anything since, and if anyone is curious, that's Brendan Batchelor that had tweeted that. Is it possible?
Forwards as a result?
Well, he shared a projected lineup. It doesn't have Chatfield in it, but could it be that there's a game time decision of some sort?
Well, I mean, if I'm being facetious here for a second, Chris, it sounds like some gamesmanship from Travis Green in what can only be described as a must-win game tonight.
Yeah. To answer your question, Dylan, on the blue line, Edler, Schmidt, Hughes, Hamonic, Yalevi, Myers is what Batchelor had as projected, but getting a seventh defenseman mixes things up. Anywho, Demko gets the start. That's not gonna lie, interesting. I get it. I mean, I get it. It's 50-50, but
I mean, I don't. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm the guy who's enrolled with the belief that Holtby is the number one, right? And sure, he didn't have a hot game this weekend, but
neither did Thatcher Demko in game one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just on that note, how excited are you to watch the Edmonton Oilers play the Vancouver Canucks? Was it 8 more times?
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. If you like goals, you'll see a lot of them between the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers.
I do think that they're still getting used to that leaky defense that Canucks has. Like, Markstrom is like ready, and Demko knows that you're just going to face a lot of shots. But Holtby, he's taking time to adjust and being like, no, you're going to be real busy behind this team.
Yeah. Which team shows up? Do we believe that the Canucks are going to put in a solid, when I say solid effort,
a solid 60?
Yeah, exactly. Win or lose, you'll at least see a team that shows up to compete. Because like this,
Parks on that.
Yeah.
I can't believe Travis went there. I was just like, it's 3 games in, Travis. You need to come up with something better.
My personal take is, I think what's been sort of echoed in the comments already, is that I will be more alarmed if the Vancouver Canucks don't put in a more complete effort tonight than they did on Saturday night against the Calgary Flames. Because again, like we mentioned right off the hop, you could count on one hand the number of scoring chances that the Vancouver Canucks had against Jacob Markstrom in that first matchup of the season. If the Canucks are somehow able to duplicate that feat tonight with JT Miller in the lineup, that's big alarm bells for me. Regardless of whether or not you call this a must-win game or not, to show that same amount of effort tonight after coming up goose-egged on Saturday night, that's a harbinger of bad things to come, perhaps.
Yeah. I think when I look at C4 Discord and the melancholy that we saw at the conclusion of that game in game day chat, it had more to do with the effort on the ice than really anything other than that. Like it's hard when you as a fan, you're that invested and things just don't go well. And I think we as fans have expectations that the Vancouver Canucks do provide much better performances than the one we saw on Saturday. It's not just no fan wants their team to not play well, but we're maybe a little bit up on that. Just speaking of the forward lines, Bachelor had it to Miller, Pettersson, Besser, Pearson, Horvat, Hoglander, Roussel, Gaudette, Virtanen, Mott, Beagle, Sutter.
I mean, that just already sounds better. That fourth line is still that fourth line, but just those top three lines just read how they should.
Well, that third line, like I sort of mentioned this, I feel that third line could be outright scary if it clicks. You consider when Rooster has been on his game in Vancouver, he's been that agitator. Well, no, I mean, the Vancouver Canucks have not had that pest for quite some time. Rooster has sort of filled that role when he's been on his game. I think Gaudette has the ability to sort of be that mastermind on the ice within that context. And Jake, if Jake plays like a bull in a china shop and plays to I think the capability we all know he can, like that line almost feels like the Canucks third line in 2011 in some respect. I am reaching, there's a lot of what if here, but the potential of the line excites me. I simply want the potential to be achieved.
I hear what you're trying to say. The potential is there, I agree, but those are still a lot of what ifs there. Adam Gaudette's defensive game still needs some work, or at least he needs to deliver a more complete game. We could talk each other's ears off about how inconsistent Jake has been as well. And Antoine Roussel has kind of been inconsistently delivering on that agitator game, like you mentioned, Chris. So there's a lot of things that need to happen for that third line to be a real effective third line. The potential is there, but I'm a little bit more jaded because we've already seen that third line get prolonged looks, whether it be in the bubble last year or early this season.
I just want it to be imagine when our conversation trends from which one's the first line to being, well, which one's the second? I think when we think about good teams, it's when which line is the second line is when they excel. I don't think the Canucks will ever get to that point where we'll be disputing which is the number one line across three. Unless it's a bunch of Jags, at which point you're like, YOLO.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. If you look at real cup contenders, obviously this is such a weird year. It could be anyone, but they run deep and they have scoring all the way down. So, yeah. Not on there yet.
Anywho, a couple minutes before the actual anthems do start. And we get, was it Edmonton or Calgary? Has George Canyon do them? Normally,
who cares?
I don't know, country guy.
Not the biggest fan of that anthem singer, by the way.
Not the biggest fan of anthems.
It's a little too country, that tone for me.
Yeah, I mean Calgary. It's like we get it. You have Cowboys. We get it.
I was going to say it's Calgary. Like you expect them to, bust out like the hip hop version of "O Canada" or something like that.
Oh God, that's just like but no thanks.
So as we sort of get into the final minute here, game prediction of the game, Matt.
Oh boy. Again, I'm calling it as close to a must-win game as it gets tonight. I think the Canucks show up. I think Pettersson finds the back of the net for the first time this season. I'm praying to God that the penalty kill finds its groove this time around. Special teams makes the difference. The Vancouver Canucks win 4-2.
4-2. Anna.
I was going to say 4-2, and Matt's just stolen my scoreline. I feel
that's okay.
He's just up in my head or something. Because originally I had 4-3, but then I was like, nah, it will be 3-2, really tight. And then we'll get an empty net goal.
Tanner Pearson, empty net goal.
From his office, down by the other net.
I got a 2-1 Vancouver Canucks in a tight affair. I actually don't feel the Vancouver Canucks are going to find their offense after 2 sleeps, but I believe they'll show a much better effort and squeak out the win. As to who's on the score sheet, I'm going to go with Miller, because why not? I think Miller's going to pot one. And I'm going to give the other one to Brendan Mott.
Who?
Sorry, did I say Brendan Mott?
Yeah. I was just like, it's our mixture of people.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm tired.
Come on, he's one of the Tylers. He's one of our 2 remaining Tylers.
Oh,
I was like, did he just combine Brendan Gaunce and Tyler Mott into one
I
person?
wondered.
Jalen Chatfield's going to score one just because I screwed that up. Put it on the list.
I mean, you were better off with Brendan Mott, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry. Anyway, I want to go watch a little bit of the game before we go click record. To all of you who tuned into this special version of Instead of the Anthems IOTA, which is normally our pre-show for our patrons, thank you. We might do some more sort of public shows as the season goes on. Yeah, let's all go watch the Vancouver Canucks. Tune in to Discord, C4 Discord, discord.io/C4 Discord is where to go. Game day chat's always happening. Come yell virtually, cheer virtually, and check out all the hottest takes in the Canucks fan sphere. So, on behalf of myself, Chris at Lightforce, Anna A4603, and Matt at Matt Lee _61. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the game, everybody.